All right. Welcome to We Are Something Else, episode 74, Heavy. And we are continuing our Black Business series tonight, and our guest tonight is Miss Jessica Harris. Welcome. Jessica's going to be chiming in with us tonight. She's from, say your company?
At the Top Wellness.
At Top Wellness. She'll be here tonight. We're going to tackle mental health tonight because I think we all need a little bit of healing. Maybe I'll have some questions and yeah. So, but let's go around. Rich, what's good with you?
Man, another week. Unfortunately, we had some fires kick back up today. So, the air quality is bad. Had to do the workout in the garage, you dig? So, at 250 in right in time. But I'm happy to be here and ready for this podcast today.
Got you. CB, what's good, man?
Hey, man. It feels weird being in December already. It's weird because it feels like we fast forwarded here, and at the same time, 2020 has been the longest year ever. So it just feels kind of wild. Holiday season feels a little bit different than in years past. But, family's healthy. Everyone's good. Happy to get to chill with the homies tonight and, have a good conversation with Jessica.
Okay. Superfly.
Yo, apologies for being late. Salute to y'all. There's some technical issues.
You're
All
good,
man. All good, man. We knew you'd get in that long intro. You bought yourself another minute and a half or so.
Appreciate it.
That's the point of the long intro.
Yeah, I'm here and
so
healthy.
If you're just joining us, again, we're doing our Black Business series, and we got Jessica Harrison from At the Top Wellness. She's gonna be joining us tonight as we talk about mental health. But before we get to that, let's wrap. So I'm gonna let everybody take in. I don't know if y'all see anything different about the graphic. All right, so let's start with Tyson. This past weekend, Mike Tyson returned to the ring after 16 years, I believe, to fight Roy Jones. And we've been hyping this for a while because there's really nothing else to hype in a quarantine, if you're in a quarantine. And I'll save my comments for then. But did any of you guys watch that?
Yes. Was tuned in.
Okay. Was it what you thought it would be?
It was exactly what I was anticipating it was going to be. It was one of those things where can't be delusional that these are the dudes that I remember from my childhood who were the best in the world and everything like that. Like, these dudes are in their 50s and, they're out there trying to give us a show. I wouldn't be stepping in the ring with either of them still. You know what I mean? So I was still entertained. It was one of those things where I knew exactly where my money was going.
Right. And what was it? It was like $60?
50. And it was cool though. Mostly just because of how the commentary ended up working out. Like, I'm actually a big Israel Adesanya fan, and he, I thought, did a pretty good job up there. And then, of course, once Uncle Snoop got up there, he stole the show. So, you know what I mean? It was great.
Absolutely. E.
I'll put it to you like this. One of the better undercards is minus that Jake Paul, Nate Robinson situation. One of the better undercards that has been on a pay-per-view that you only spent $50 for. I'll say that.
Right.
The main event is what it was. It was either going to go short or it was going to go the distance. But Mike hit Roy and Roy felt it. That's why he was holding his stomach while he was doing this little press conference. But in true fashion, Mike made it a fight, and also the commentary at the end talking about why y'all worried about him getting hurt and not worried about my ass.
Got me, right? They turned it into an entertaining event for sure.
Yeah. And of course, like I said, Uncle Snoop always comes through with the commentary, which, again, he needs to be on at least every platform as far as sports is related, from an NFL game to an NBA game. anywhere. Like I just think he amps it up and does exactly what the fans want, and it actually makes it better to watch.
Right. Superfly.
So I'm in true 80s baby fashion. Like I grew up with my uncles and my dad telling you don't never buy no Tyson fight. You ain't never gonna get your money's worth from a Tyson fight. So no, I ain't buy that. I watched it on. There was a little. Somebody had like a bootleg stream on Facebook. I watched a little bit on there. Then I caught the Nate Robinson fiasco on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So, but I was thoroughly entertained as well. And I think Snoop won the whole thing. Like Snoop has shown us like there's certain people that just have that it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Snoop and everything he's done in his entertainment career, like he's showing you like from the rap to now to sports commentating and whatever else he decides to do. Like he just has that it factor. You know what I'm saying? That's special.
He's like a brand now, and the fact that he knows what he's talking about when he does something. Because there was a highlight of him calling the hockey game, basketball game, and this guy knows his stuff. So I don't think he's going to put himself in a bad position to where he's going to look like odd man out. And I think I read today that he was actually going to start a boxing league so he can commentate. So
he's got the personality and the authenticity to pull it off. So
absolutely,
like I said, he just has it.
I kind of like the color commentary, like everything that wasn't painted up to be suit and tie, traditional boxing commentary. You had a lot of profanity. You had a lot of just a bunch of mixture of different things that you normally don't get in a good boxing in a good fight.
He brought the what everyone else is saying in their house into on the TV. You know what I'm saying? Like that's exactly what it sounded like to me. Like this is how we sound when we in the man cave.
Yep.
Jessica, did you watch the fight?
I missed it, but I caught all the memes.
There you go. The memes are
that's a whole other show right there.
Yeah,
the memes actually made it. Okay. Next up, LeBron. My man cashed in, right? He took that payday. But it's and I'll say this. When I saw that, it was 2 years, 84 million, something like that. 86 million, something crazy, right?
Still a discount.
Yeah, I saw it, and it definitely reminded me of the Kobe deal. Kobe on his last 2 years, they finally he took the payday. He knew there wasn't going to be a team around him, and he took what he was worth. Still probably, like I said, a discount.
Still a discount.
But it reminds me of that because you're like, wow, like the end of the LeBron era is near. Okay. At least you probably get 2 more years out of him, maybe a third, but like this is starting to show me that you take the big payday that you need and be out. But again, I think like you said, discounted price, he's definitely worth way more than that, but the endorsements are covered at the other end of that. E out in Cali?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to it's a good thing. If you look at, first of all, it's an extension to the original contract that he had. Think about this. You had, and it goes deeper than that when you talk about the discount, right? You got Clutch Sports representing a good portion of the Lakers, from AD to LeBron to KCP. If you look at it, they structured it in a way that AD gets his money, but also is the face of the franchise once LeBron is gone, but also gives the organization the ability to bring in another superstar that will want to come and play with AD, knowing his skill set, and to be in LA where, like I said, we get rings, we hang banners. We don't do the, Western Conference Finals things and stuff like that. So you have to look at it in that aspect. I will say, I think we retooled the lineup good. But no, it's a good look. I think at the end of the day, if you think about it, what they say, it was only 4 for Lakers to ever have that type of payday as far as like how much they make in a year. And you look at all of them that stack up, you know, they bring rings or they have the championship caliber with them. So, you know, I'm excited about it, but I'm more excited about the additions that we made to the team. And not gonna lie to you, I knew the NBA was gonna come through with that schedule and, you know,
Absolutely.
give us the Clippers on day one so we can go
Absolutely.
ahead and knock that out of
Absolutely.
the box and stop so we won't have to have that conversation on here no more.
And they're nowhere near the same team that they were last season. So they're still gonna be the team in the basement. And this is different from the Kobe thing, I think, because you actually have pieces to win for the next 2 years. Kobe just didn't have the the pieces put together. So it'll be interesting. And here we go. DC right here, right? We knew it was coming, just didn't know when or how or where. John Wall for Russ. It's probably the most even trade you'll ever see in the NBA. But I think the Wizards got the better end because you at least seen Russ play for the past 2 years. Wall is the X factor. He hasn't played since 2018, and he's coming off of 2 major injuries. So, I don't know. I just hope that Russ brings more. Captures at least might get another free agent or so to come to kind of fill that piece in because they're a young team still, and I don't know how him and Beal are going to put it together.
Come on, DC. I need to hear somebody.
I think it's tough because he ingrained himself with the fan base. And so the fan base loves him. So there's all to a point where a lot of Wizards fans are delusional about this trade. And you know, Russ is actually a fraction cheaper than John is over the next 3 years in the trade-off of the Supermax deals and everything. But it's definitely one of those situations where I'm hoping for the best for both of them. John is one of those guys. He'd been with the franchise for 10 years. So for a lot of us, he's been the face of the hometown franchise, you know, the majority of the time. So hoping that he's healthy and hoping that him reuniting with Boogie, you know, hopefully them out in Houston will be fun to watch. But I think that we'll see how Russ and Beal work out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
I think go ahead,
my bad. I think it's going to be interesting to watch. I do think this is like a temporary setup. You know what I'm saying? Whereas either, you know, they acquired a tradable piece, you know what I'm saying, to make another move in a couple years or a year from now. So it'll be fun to see if they're able to work it out. But I don't think this is like the long term, you know what I mean, solution at this point. But on the upside of it, it should be entertaining. Like at the very least, they're going to be like one of the best backcourts in the league. And that in and of itself should be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Allow Bill to be a little bit more of a shooter. You know, that was kind of his natural role coming into the league as well.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know what to think yet. I got to see it put in action. I think it's the same as it'll be with if Wall would have came back on both ends. So if you still have Russ and James playing together, it's the same thing. And you add Wall to that piece. And then if you bring Russ over here, I think it's going to be the same thing, but they'll probably be more put together because I think the East at least is kind of winnable for them. You know, it's not being in the West and you're playing for the 8th seed. In the East, they can at least play up to 3 to 4.
All I know is these brands, Sabiato, Eat, the museum, y'all better be out here seeding this man because he can't be walking around DC dressed like we've seen him dress over the last decade. We can't let that happen, DC. So hook that man up, please.
Look him up.
Oh man.
And so last, that picture at the bottom. At this point, everybody should know what that is. It's the reason why I rant last week. Well, part of the reason. The majority is the people not taking it serious. But yeah, the numbers are spiking back up. Phase 2 is well underway. More deaths every day, and still more people not taking it serious because on a daily basis, I get an Instagram ad for a happy hour and half off drinks. So, all I can say is wear the damn mask. Like Larry Hogan says in his commercials, wear the damn mask. Stay in the house. At this point, it's getting cold. There's nothing to do outside. There's no beach to go to. There's nothing. No, I don't get it. And who cares about your 27th birthday party? Seriously. 27 is not a big number. Stay in the house. See, I don't. I feel myself going there again. I don't want to. In the house for Thanksgiving. I'm thinking about Christmas now. I'm not trying to sit in the house for Christmas. See one of my family members. Damn. Okay. I'm just saying. We got to take it serious because we're in this thing 9 months now, and we're gonna be in this. Well, we're gonna be in this thing for a year, well into a year, before you even get to the other side of it. So just wear a mask, stay in the house. It's not that important. I don't know. Okay. Well, if you're just joining us, we're on our Black Business series. And tonight we have Miss Jessica Harris joining us. Salute, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And so we want to start off, just tell us a little bit about yourself for people just joining. Where are you from? All that. And then we'll dive into it.
Okay. I'm originally from Ohio. I moved to Maryland in 2011 and been here ever since. So yeah, fun times.
So I don't know if you know the background on the Black Business Series, but we started this because the pandemic, we're quarantining, and there are businesses out here suffering, but there's also some businesses thriving. And we wanted to bring a spotlight to those businesses and just get the word out about things. So, and I think I mentioned that we've been in this thing for 9 months, and not everyone's taking it as well as us sitting right here. There's a lot of people who, may be in a dark corner somewhere, in a dark place in their life. And so we wanted to at least spotlight some of these things that, people may be going through. So, I'll let you lead off with the first question.
All right. I guess we'll just jump right into it. Biggest misconception of mental health.
There are actually I'll name a few. Some of them is people say that therapy is only for crazy people. Therapy is only for white people. I can talk to my friends about my problems, or I can pray my issues away. Those are some of the misconceptions that I've heard regularly over the years and growing in the field as a professional. And I can say that all of those are furthest from the truth. I think a lot of people feel like you have to have like a serious diagnosis or be struggling with a very severe condition in order to be like, okay, I'm going to go to therapy. And no, it's not. People go to therapy for a lot of different reasons. There's life transitions that people have. Some people have lost their jobs, especially during the pandemic. And sometimes it's really hard to manage that. Leaving school, having to drop out of school, or graduating from school and trying to figure out what's your next step. Some people need therapy for that. Some people have ongoing difficulties with managing stress and anxiety, inability to focus, things like that. All of these things can be worked out in therapy. Difficulties in your friendships, romantic relationships, your dating life. If you're pregnant, trying to get pregnant, or have difficulties with infertility, having losses, all of these things fall under you probably being able to have to seek some additional support. As far as people saying I can talk to my friends about it, I think having friends that you can talk to, family members, is really good. because that means you rely on your support system. But not everyone's a trained professional. And therapy is a process. So there's a structure to it. We do an initial assessment just to and get background information, ask you questions about, oh yeah, go ahead. Does someone have a
But
question? Oh, okay,
oh,
someone has a question. We ask you questions about what's been going on, ask about your family history, some of your medical history, things like that. Some of the symptoms you've been experiencing, for how long you've been doing that. So it's a whole process. We create a treatment plan or a goal plan, so it doesn't really sound like, oh my gosh. It's really like a structured formulation of goals that you want to be able to reach while you're seeking that extra support, and that's what we work on. So it's definitely a complete process, and it's not something that you can just like, hey, pick up your phone and talk to a friend and be able to just resolve all of your trauma that you've experienced in a few phone calls with a friend.
Thank you for like sharing kind of that as a process. Do you mind like pulling the curtain back a little bit on the mystery? Because I feel like a lot of people say, go to therapy, but really, if you haven't gone through that, you have no idea like what you're kind of stepping into. So like, what is like in layman's terms, what is therapy, and kind of, what are some of like the common goals that people are like trying to get at?
Okay, so I like how you asked what is therapy. I've never been asked that before. It's really a process that really delves into your background, into your emotional concerns. So, for example, I have people that come to me because they've suffered like childhood trauma, which could fall under sexual abuse, physical abuse, things like that. Some people come in because they're experiencing difficulties in the workplace. So it can range from microaggressions to having a role that's very demanding and it can be difficult to manage sometimes, or struggling with managing other people, different things like that. And I would say too, in terms of like experiencing different traumas, these are things that just are outside of the normal range of like your emotional capacity. So it could be anything from getting into a car accident to having lost your job. It could be having to have pregnancy termination, any of those things that really go beyond, your emotion, like your normal range of like, okay, this wasn't normal for me kind of thing.
Right.
Let's jump to a question from our comment crew. How are you going to deal with those who are struggling with the pandemic and those who are depressed over the holidays?
So yes, the pandemic I think it's really affected everybody in different ways. I know it's affected me personally. I know it's very difficult being able not being able to really physically socialize with your family, and having to, stay at home for the most part, for those of us who've been really trying to, flatten the curve. And it's hard because you get cabin fever. You feel like, okay, I'm gonna sit in the house, I'm gonna sit in front of this computer for 40 hours a week plus for some other people. And it's like, okay, I need something else.
Yeah, you need something to look forward to.
Yeah. I know everybody's different. I've really been trying to encourage people to get outside, at least go for a walk for like 15 minutes. I know it's not the cure all to everything, but it is a little bit of something where you can get some fresh air and you can get just outside of the walls of your home. I've also encouraged people to get indoor plants. There are some fresh air plants that you can get. And I've been able to see lots of pictures of those on like Instagram and Pinterest and things like that. So that's been helpful. My biggest thing is like more about like, okay, what healthy things do you like to do that can you create a routine with for yourself? So that can go from dancing, which I've done picked up a lot of YouTube videos, especially in the beginning of the summer, doing trying to learn different stuff. I know everybody's been TikToking on 10 lately too. So it's like little fun stuff you can do. And of course, there's always Zoom. So I'll say even with my friends, I'm on WhatsApp with them, quite often. Sometimes we have game nights on Zoom and things like that. So I would, encourage you all to continue to do that to get the social aspect in. And I know other people have been gathering in smaller crowds with their mask on, because it does feel impossible to not be around people for extended period of time, which is definitely understandable. It's very difficult to do that. So if everyone is physically socializing, I really still encourage you to wear your mask and keep your numbers low, and still quarantine for 2 weeks, which is what I've done. If I've been around people, I just self quarantine for 2 weeks just to be safe.
Nice. How has COVID affected your business?
You know what? I actually started to get a lot of inquiries for appointments, especially at the beginning of COVID. I did have some old clients that did come back and say, I've been kind of having a hard time with this. So I think it's done pretty well. And then, of course, I've still maintained some of the clients that I've been working with, prior to that.
What drove you to getting into the field in the first place? What attracted you to it?
Oh, good question. I think it's just always something I was interested in. I remember so my very first thing that I can remember, well, I won't say my first thing. Something that stands out to me is I watched Harriet the Spy when I was little. And after her nanny was fired, Harriet started acting out, and she ended up going to a play therapist. That's what her parents took her. So that was like one of my first introductions to therapy, at least in pop culture.
Right.
How do you get your friends and family to understand your depression and anxiety without judging you and having them feel sorry for you?
I think the word understanding is really what sticks out. A lot of people really don't understand depression, anxiety, because a lot of people have handled it differently. I would say for those who, you can't really make people listen to you. What I would probably do, which is what I've done, like with my husband, if I'm feeling like really stressed out, I'd be like, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now. This is what I need from you. So if you're able to identify the types of need, well, the way people can feed into you and be able to identify different types of support, I think that's where you'll get the most from. So you have the person who can physically be there. They may not be able to give you the best advice, but they're like, you know what, I got you. Or if you need me to go grab you something to eat, I got you. Or if you have the person else that is that listener, and you're like, okay, I need to talk. I may not necessarily need you to respond. I just need somebody to listen. Or, hey, I need some advice on what you think I should do about this. So there's different types of support. So you really have to identify which people in your life are really good at giving you the different types of support that you need. So I hope that does answer the question. If you're able to explain exactly what's going on to the people who are really good at listening to you, sometimes that's good too. But it's really going to be up to the other people too, to be having a willingness to understand.
Absolutely.
So it's like basic communication.
I feel like lately a lot of like therapy and mental health has now become like part of the zeitgeist and like part of like culture. We're kind of talking about it openly, and it's become like so common that I feel like I'm a functioning person, but I don't know whether or not I need therapy or not. And like sometimes I'm like, man, maybe I should just go see a therapist, because I'm not operating, and I just don't know it, that I'm not operating at my full capacity, like emotionally. Like, are there like signs that you should be looking for like when you might want to seek therapy, or when you think, or are there things that you can even improve just in your everyday life outside of like COVID? Everyone's dealing with stress around that, but like in non-COVID times, are there things like everyday things you could do, or signs you should be looking for in your life where you might want to seek therapy, and then things you could do to kind of address that are kind of simple?
Yeah, definitely. Look at your sleeping patterns. And some people can be like, I've been dealing with this for a long time. I didn't even think it was a problem, kind of thing. And those are just some of the things that you probably should look at. So look at how you're sleeping. Are you getting restful sleep? Are you sleeping a normal amount of time? So I would say about 8 hours. And some people, most adults are probably sleeping about 4 to 6.
What is 8? Still get 8
You know what? You're right. What is 8 hours?
that thing still? My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was like, is 8 hours still the norm?
It is still the norm. And look at even like, and honestly, so I'm going to try to explain some symptoms in a way, because some people are going to be like, anxiety, I don't have that. But different signs of anxiety could be prolonged irritability, difficulty sleeping, difficulty concentrating, inability to focus. So things like that, if you're experiencing those for, I'll say more than several days a week, and it's been on a consistent basis and it's been going on for longer than 2 weeks, you should probably consider talking to someone about what's been going on. In terms of depression, sometimes you can just feel angry or sad. And it can be more intense than you would like it to be and last longer than you would like it to be. So I'll say if it's been longer than 2 weeks and you're feeling like higher levels of these types of feelings, I think that would be a good idea to definitely, consider talking to someone. Even with depression, you can also be irritable. You can undereat or overeat, oversleep or undersleep. So those are some signs of that as well. And then, and of course, if you're having thoughts or feelings about harming yourself, that's definitely more on the serious end. And I would definitely encourage you to talk to someone.
You listen to others' issues every day. Do you have a network of other therapists that you go to in order to unload?
I have my own therapist. I definitely do. And I will say that proudly. Because sometimes life gets stressful and I just can't hold it in all the time. And, in order for me to keep it together and be able to continue to be the provider that I need to be able to be taking care of myself in that way too.
Now, with the pandemic and quarantine going on, are you doing virtual appointments? Or are you doing in-person appointments these days?
I'm completely virtual. So I was actually like hybrid of virtual and in-person prior to the pandemic, and I was working my way towards virtual. So COVID, though it is a negative, happening in the world, it did benefit me in that way where I could transition to virtual the way I did want to.
All right, to piggyback off that question, so when you're virtual, do you feel like people have an issue, or it's hard to connect with someone virtually than it is like some people connect better in person? Like for example, I'm learning a whole new job virtually right now, and I'm an in-person learner. I'm definitely learning that because over a computer is tough. So I can only imagine talking about whatever you're going through with someone that you haven't really connected with on a in-person level. Are you finding that, or have you heard that thus far?
You know what? I can be honest and say that meeting someone in person versus online does have a different feel to it. But I do not, at least me, I don't have a hard time connecting with my clients online. It's more about me really being present and being able to really be attuned to what their needs are, and just provide the therapy in a way that makes them feel comfortable.
I feel like there's a lot of information and misinformation out there. Do you have any suggestions for people in terms of just kind of how to wade through just some of the static that's out there and actually, get to the facts and what's truthful about, the profession and, therapy in general?
Yeah, I would say definitely pay attention to your sources. That's really like one of the big things. And I feel like that's common online. You see a lot of articles dropping, some of it satire, some of it is, more like have a political backing behind it and things like that. So you really just want to be able to vet your sources. And I always say get a second opinion, ask somebody who's in the field. There's a lot of us mental health professionals on online, on Instagram, on Facebook, all of these different outlets on Twitter. Feel free to reach out and ask questions. And a lot of therapists, they do have like weekly things where they ask their followers, hey, ask me any question that you want, kind of thing.
Have you capitalized on like the different social medias and things like that? You said you were already moving towards going virtual. Have you kind of expanded that into any of the other platforms or anything like that?
I'm not really sure I understand your question.
I guess maybe getting yourself out there as far as like the practice and your business itself.
Oh yeah, so I definitely do. I'll be honest, I do need to a little bit better with being more consistent, but I am on Instagram and Facebook, and I should probably get back on Twitter.
No, you don't. Don't worry about it.
No,
It's a horrible place. No one needs to be there, right?
I'll say Instagram is my favorite, is my preferred. I'll say that.
How I feel like also you, as a Black person and living in 2020, like you feel like you need a therapist that can kind of see your perspectives a little better. Do you think that I'm sure everyone's needs are different, but like what's your perspective on having a therapist that is either like if I'm a male seeking therapy, a Black male seeking therapy, should I be looking for a Black male therapist in order to better suit my needs, or is some of that stuff kind of irrelevant and like anybody can kind of treat anyone?
No, therapists can. They're not every therapist can treat every person, and we learn in the field that we can't treat everybody. As far as like cultural sensitivity and competence, it's definitely important in looking for a therapist who looks like you. So I definitely support that, and that's really important because there are therapists out there that really don't understand, haven't done the research, and aren't doing the work that they need to do to be able to support people who, Black people, Indigenous people, and other people of color.
So this question is, I guess I'll be the one. It's a all over the place, but kind of honing in on to the kind of the aspect of we've kind of with the generational difference. Like these kids don't go outside and play much, right? Well, outside of quarantine, right? And we kind of get the you hear the cliche like these kids are soft nowadays, right? And I say that, CB, don't laugh. Come on, man. You know where I'm going with this. But, one of the things is because mental health, like we had talked about, wasn't a big thing. I'm an 80s baby, right? So it wasn't a big thing coming up. To some of our upbringing, seeing a lot of things that clearly you shouldn't have seen as kids, and we normalizing it as that was just something that you saw. How does that transition into like the adult life? Like from your kid, like you don't really speak about it, you see things, and then as it affects you as an adult, that then kind of changes your outlook, how you look at things as an adult. Would that change your kind of thought process on if I really need to see somebody because I've made it this far with the stuff that I've been through or that I've seen?
Absolutely. So I would probably turn the question back around on you. Like, what are some things that you are noticing within yourself that you've been struggling with since childhood that you feel like has not been resolved that you want to change? Or what are some things in your life that you feel like you want to change? Especially as I'm not sure if all of you have children, but there are some things or ways at which we've been raised that we don't really want to pass on to our children. And some of the best ways to really break that down and unpack that is to be able to talk to somebody about it and really work through that. Because if we have unhealthy ways of coping and handling, our stuff that we're carrying, we're teaching our kids to handle that the same way, and then they're gonna have to go through life struggling. And you don't have to. And that's the thing. That's the thing about therapy is that you don't have to spend your whole life struggling. You don't have to spend the rest of your life struggling. Because sometimes is if our parents weren't going to therapy, they sure as heck weren't putting us in therapy as children. And so like once you know better, you do better. And when you're ready, because sometimes confronting this stuff is difficult and it's not easy, but it's definitely worthwhile to do it, to do the work, and just to really just change things in your life and within yourself that you've been going through.
Now, is mental health, mental illness, is that hereditary?
Some some diagnoses are, yes, it can run the family.
Just one. That's a lot of questions. A lot of people ask, well, it runs in my family. You always hear that a lot of times. Crazy runs in my family, but what is crazy? But
well, say I won't call it crazy.
well,
But yeah, some of them are, and it's really interesting. This is really what I really love about specializing in perinatal mental health, is that a lot of people don't know that mental health begins at conception. And so if the mother is going through some stress during the pregnancy, that stress passes on to the baby. Also during breastfeeding, and fathers can also suffer from perinatal mood and anxiety disorders also. A lot of people don't really talk about it as much as I would like them to. There's some dads who have anxiety and depression, sometimes psychosis. And you don't have to have a history of any of these things in order to experience these things during the perinatal period, during pregnancy. And so I think, a lot of awareness about this is really important.
absolutely.
All right, so I'm gonna ask a question. How much can you read? Like, what? It sounds a little weird, but like dreams. How much are dreams really? I was watching this thing on Netflix about how dreams aren't even really kind of what you think they are, and they're really like you're not really seeing what you think you're seeing, when you're dreaming and stuff like that. And there's times where, like, for instance, I'll, open up a little bit about myself here. Anytime I'm dreaming and I dream about home, I dream that I'm in my childhood home. Even if I'm with like my wife and my kids today, we live in my childhood home. And it's very weird to me, but I don't know how much of that is real versus like, just something I shouldn't really pay attention to, and it doesn't really matter. And you know what I mean? It's just like what do those things kind of tell you?
You know what? I'm not really sure how to answer that question, to be honest. I know that sometimes like your dreams are filled with content of things that you've been exposed to already. Some people have had dreams where it was kind of like a deja vu situation, like I dreamt about this and then it happened. So I'm not really the professional who does like the dream interpretations. There are some therapists who do, and other helping professionals who do. I'm not one of those, so sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I've been trying to get any free therapy today.
How do you convince your clients to see a psychiatrist, especially your Black clients who are fearful of the stigma of medication?
So with my Black clients, I definitely try to find other Black psychiatrists. Think about it like this. If you were to break your leg, would you not go to the doctor? If that part of your body is not well, if you have a sprained wrist, are you not going to go to the doctor because that part of your body is not well? If you're having chest pain, it's the same thing with your emotions and with your mind. Medications sound a lot scary to a lot of people. Sometimes because of the side effects. Sometimes because they're like, I'm not crazy. I'm not getting on medication. Being prescribed medication does not mean that you're crazy either. Medication tend to work really well when you're going to therapy and you're seeing your psychiatrist if you are on prescription. Because medication management, while it's a great thing, it's not the only thing that could be supportive of you on your journey. So I do try to, tell people like that, okay, if you have all these other ailments in your body that aren't going well, you're going to tend not to avoid going to the doctor or going for your physical. It's the same thing with mental health.
Last question I got from me is there, do you feel, and I think somebody brought it up earlier as far as it's being talked about more. So there's a side of awareness, but do you also feel like there is a piece of it where it's almost feel like it's forceful? Like it's almost saying that you need to go to like it's almost like forcing people to say you need to go talk to somebody so you can know if you are or if not, you know, like where you stand. It's almost like you get it to where now it's almost, you know, like a commercial, like they feeding you the advertisement to go do it, go do it, go do it. And you're just sitting there like, I made it this far, or you know, it kind of gets you like see, like, you know, you be like, am I really that crazy, or do I need to go see somebody? Do I not need to go see somebody? And then it's so much that you intake, and you're just like, I'm all right, because I feel like they're forcing it to me instead of me walking myself there naturally. You know what I mean? To get to that step, or that first initial step.
Sorry, I just saw the comment.
Stop coming for your neck, E.
Don't pay them.
Hey, it's real easy bombing from the chat room.
That's fine.
Oh man.
I would say to really I would say take some time to really think about, you know, what it is that you want for yourself. Some people will say, my sister's been telling me for a long time I should probably see a therapist, or my best friend was telling me I should see a therapist, and things like that. Just really think about, really do a self-assessment and just really decide for yourself what it is that you want to do. I encourage people to do a check-in too, because not everybody and not everything that you go through means that you have a diagnosis either. I'm probably going to give a little sidebar to this. So if you're using your insurance, a therapist does have to provide the insurance company with the diagnosis in order for you to get reimbursement or for the therapist to be paid for their services. There are therapists who do accept where you can see out of network, or that means that you'll pay out of pocket. And you can submit if you do have out of network benefits, which means that your plan will reimburse you a certain percentage or full amount, depending on what your plan is, for you to pay your therapist. And they may request, records just so you can have your reimbursement. But if I would just say, if you're paying out of pocket, your therapist does not have to, provide a diagnosis. So you can, if it's affordable for you, you can pay out of pocket and just be like, hey, I just need to talk to somebody and run this past you. So not everything that you go through requires a diagnosis.
What's a common length of relationship that you have with a therapist? Like, is it, you see someone for 3 months, or do you see them for 5 years, or what does that range?
It really depends on your needs. It's really hard for me to give a range of how long you'd be seeing someone, because you can go to therapy for one thing and then be like, oh, well, this came up. Can we unpack this? So it really just depends on the person and what their needs are.
E from the OT show.
Salute to E.
Shout out to E from the OT show. So real quick, if you're just joining us, we are having our Black Business Series tonight with Miss Jessica Harris from At the Top Wellness. And she's sitting there, we're discussing mental health. And I'll just end my session, my set of questions. So if someone is new to this or wants to become a patient, what are some of the things that they have to do when they come to you in order for you to see them? And does that always mean you take them, will you decline a person?
Yeah, so there are different therapies, especially I'll say in the private practice sector versus the community agencies. Me being in private practice, I have specialties. So I specialize in seeing a certain type of client. And so what we're supposed to do is practice within our scope of practice. So if someone comes to me and they have needs that I'm not really experienced with, or that's just not my preferred challenge to help somebody with, I'll refer them to another provider who specializes or has a capacity to meet those needs. And so if someone were to come to me, I would, I'll do a consultation with them, ask them what their goals are, what prompted them to, seek therapy. What do we want? What do you need from me as a therapist throughout the process? Because some people have bad experiences. And I want to say this especially because a lot of times having a bad experiences sets people down. They're like, I'm never going to go see a therapist again because they just made me feel worse when I left. I liken to finding a good therapist to dating. I do.
So is there like a
It's a good fit.
LinkedIn or what's the app for finding the right therapist? Like
Swipe left, swipe right.
exactly. Like,
It's a match.
or does
So,
that not exist?
no, there are lots of directories, and there are plenty for people of color. So therapy for Black girls is one, therapy for Black men, multicultural counselors, therapy den, inclusive therapists, Black female therapists, Black male therapists. There's a lot. So yeah, I can definitely get y'all the information too if y'all
Thank you.
want to pass that out.
How do you properly break up with your therapist?
You know what? It's totally up to you how
A
you want to
check.
do it.
Right.
I've had people ghost me. They just don't want to come to therapy anymore, and that's fine. That's really their decision. That's not on me. I've had people be like, okay, and it really depends on like, how you do it. Like some people like, I don't think we're a good fit. And I'm like, you know what? That's totally fine. I can understand. Let me try to refer you to somebody who might be a better fit for you. So it's never like one of those hard feeling situations. If it's not working, it's not working. And that's okay.
I have a two-parter here. All right. The first part is like one of the tropes you see on TV is like the therapist who is like performing therapy on all their friends and like close relationships. Is that real? Like, is that a thing that you like are careful about not doing, or is that just not real in reality?
So ethically, I cannot be a therapist to my friends and my family. So that actually is a really good boundary, even because I get
right
all the time anyway. It's like I'm naturally like the mediator in some situations. But,
right,
but
exactly.
I can't.
Two friends are beefing and they got to call you in always to like fix them, right?
Like I can't be a therapist, but here's some things you can do, and I'll help you find one. That's kind of how I usually do it.
All right, have you seen The Undoing yet? Everyone's been talking about on HBO.
I haven't watched it yet. I haven't
seen it.
Okay, we're not gonna spoil anything like that.
Okay, good, because that's on my list to watch.
One of the main characters is a psychotherapist, though. So that's why I brought it up.
And I'll probably have to put that on my list. I'm a student, so there's a lot of things I've been missing this
year.
Yeah,
I can relate.
I don't know. This is probably a real question in its own special way. I do parking enforcement and get threatened all day, but I feel fine. How do I break the ice, not knowing if there is ice?
How do I? I'm not sure if I understand that one correctly. Like, if there's just like a buildup of frustration, you're not getting out because of how people are treating you. Is that what you're asking?
John needs help. That's
what.
I
want to make sure I understand the question before I just go off on
right. Answer. You put it in there. You got to forgive the comments sometimes. A little way over. I see. Look, here you go right here.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you, Roy.
Was that a trick question?
I have been watching too much TV.
I don't know. But look, that's all I got. As far as questions on this phase. Anybody got anything else before we transition to the next phase?
I just have one as far as like COVID and the 2020. Have there been any trends or anything that has stood out to you more about this year in terms of why people are coming to you or setting appointments than maybe in years past?
Oh yeah, definitely. Some people were having difficulty with balancing like separating work and home life, having to work from home and not being in the office anymore. And that was one of the challenges. So I said to set your hours for work, and when you're done with work, leave work at the computer at your desk. Try not to work in your bedroom. Your bedroom's to be like your sanctuary, your safe space. And where you relax, and it's not a place where you need to like bring work into. We'll try not to bring your laptop into your bed, because that should just be for rest, sleep, and just like decompressing for the day. or just nap
Absolutely.
time in the middle of the day.
Absolutely.
Definitely encourage people. What else have I encouraged people to do? Even set boundaries with other people. If don't respond to emails if it's not a work emergency. So I would encourage you not to check your email at a certain time. But if you're one of those people who have a job where you have to check your email, just really be careful about which ones you respond to. And just set that time and just have a cutoff time. Or like, you know what, this time is for me, or this time is for my family, or this time for just nobody else.
I feel that.
How do you mentally deal with the political and social unrest?
It's definitely, for many of us, we have the privilege of being able to turn off the TV. A lot of us don't, especially those who've been personally affected, by the police brutality and things like that. It is very difficult for someone who have family members impacted by it, which can be very hard. I would say for the most part, I don't watch the news. I just catch up on news articles and read them when I'm ready. Or sometimes I'll save them for later because
That's
I'm like,
tough.
I can't even do this right now because it's hard. It's very difficult. And I
That's
think
tough.
it's just the trauma that we're all impacted by.
I mean, we're sitting at home in a pandemic, quarantining during an election year with, God knows what else is going on with, this current president. I can see how that, and then sometimes it's one of those things where you're just drawn even more into the TV because it's just like, what else can happen? You're just waiting for more bad shit to happen.
Yeah.
I just, but
Pick
Yeah.
up a
what is that?
pick up a book.
Look up,
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I've gotten really into audiobooks because I don't have time to read all the books I want to read.
Yes.
So I've been listening to them.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
just been one of my things of like just being able to I think books have always been that way. It just sparks your imagination of where you're just able to get away from reality sometimes. And yeah, that's what I love about books. Everybody doesn't like books, but
All right. For those who are watching, we want to give a shout out to Miss Jessica Harris for joining us tonight for our Black Business
thank you for
series.
having me.
Thank you so much. I mean, there's probably a lot more questions on the table. Where can people find you if they, whatever? Where can we find you if we need whatever kind of help that we need? If we got a question, plug your info for us, please.
Yeah, definitely. My website is www.atthetopwellness.com. My Instagram is also at the top wellness. I just made a TikTok, so look out for some videos.
Cool. All right. We gave you a little bit of homework, and last time I checked in, you were getting it together. So
on the struggle bus.
okay. Look. So one question we ask everybody that comes through: your top 3 movies of all time. We'll start with that. Top 3 movies of all time.
Okay, this is really hard because my family is like a big movie family, and I have like
Oh.
and like bonus points because like I've been watching all the like 90s stuff because that's my thing.
Here we go.
So
Let's
Mean
go.
Girls, I know pretty much like most of the words of that movie. I love Mean Girls. I know this is not a movie, but Fresh Prince is my jam.
Oh,
It hurt.
We'll get to that. We're getting ready to go into his.
Okay, fine. I'll say a movie. Let's see. I guess I'm more. Home Alone. That's one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
think I've seen it at least like 3 times in the last couple of weeks. What else?
Because it's that time of year.
I saw Boomerang, and I recently rewatched Boomerang, so I gotta say that's.
Oh my god, Boomerang is amazing. Okay. All right. Albums.
Ooh, okay. All right. So when you said albums, all my favorite songs I like to listen to just pop up in my head, and they're not all in the same album. So let's see what's in my car right now. Who is Jill Scott? It's one of my favorites. gonna say the best of Whitney Houston because all of my favorite songs by her are on that album.
Okay.
And I like Channel Orange.
Ooh, Frank Ocean. There we go.
Yeah.
All three. We haven't heard those three or movies. I don't think so. That's why we asked because there's so many of all.
Got to give her a round of applause just for that. You know what I mean?
That was good. That was good. Definitely. Again, we appreciate you for doing that for us. And now this is the portion where this guy he gets a spotlight. And let's give you a little backstory on while he slapped his head during the Fresh Prince. So this is the portion of the show where he is going to give whatever he's got going on his mind an unpopular opinion or such. And a couple weeks ago, he said the Fresh Prince was overrated. So yeah.
I'd be pledging them right now.
So, and this is the part where we kind of beat him up a little bit.
Oh my God.
No.
Up though, I backed it up with the shoe that week with the Bel Air Mars 3, but hey, it's just me. So I'm already ready for the comments. Roya and Pops, they about to drag me. So it is what it is, but this is why we here. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, just one of those things. I did the holiday edition last week, but we're back to normal time. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there that the best lunch, listen to what I say, the best lunch sandwich by far is the grilled cheese. Grilled cheese sandwiches are the best lunch sandwiches, hands down. Anybody?
I want to interject. Okay, I'm not knocking the grilled cheese. I love grilled cheese. I try to make mine as exotic as possible when I'm at home, like to the point where I get to Chipotle mayo.
See?
And I got my Gouda and my Munster,
See?
my provolone. I love it. But the reason why I cannot bring it to lunch is because it's not hot, and you can't put grilled cheese in the microwave. You have to have it right off the stove.
Leave it to the professional to get all technical with it, right? Right? Nobody said we was packing it. Nobody said we was back in school. We taking it. All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if at home right now, if you were going downstairs to make a lunch sandwich, you're gonna make a grilled cheese. Now, what you said is the reason behind my saying that grilled cheese is the number one. Why? You can make grilled cheese as fancy as you want. You could throw some bacon on there if you like the swine. You can, like you said, you got Gouda. Like some people don't even know what that is, but it just right? It's hard to make brie and Gouda melt without it being all over the place. You know what I'm saying? If you have a normal ham and cheese sandwich, like that's whack. Nobody's got time to cut the tomato, put the lettuce, nobody got time for that. The grilled cheese, you get it on and popping with that butter on both sides of the bread and let it does itself. That's all I'm saying.
I love grilled cheese though. Like,
yeah.
So I've told Kaleo about this spot that pre-COVID times. Wow. Pre-COVID times, there is a restaurant down the street from where I live called Space Bar. And what they are known for are grilled cheeses, and they make tachos. So, which are just nachos, but instead use tater tots. They're incredible. And so I actually haven't made a grilled cheese since moving to Northern Virginia, because I will always go to the spot down the street because my man Andre that works the grill he's a magic man. He knows what he's doing. So I don't eat grilled cheese as often as I would like to be able to just give it the crown and everything. But I'm finding it hard to fight you on this.
Take the honesty.
Yeah. You tripping if you think grilled cheese is better than a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Man, what? Are you serious? What are you?
You are
I don't even eat peanut butter and jelly.
PB&J.
First of all, you eating
Come
peanut butter?
on now.
You only eat peanut butter and jelly because of my nephew over there. That's the only reason.
No. PB&J has been a staple for years.
Nah, bro.
Definitely
PB&J, like
staple, but
We grew up. That's just what I'll say. We grew up, right?
we grew. Well, I mean, yeah.
And it's not, and you don't see, because this could be sidebar. If you say you use grape jelly, I'll hang up right now, because there's only strawberry jelly if you only gonna have anything when it comes with.
It depends.
okay,
It depends.
so I'm gonna have to, just throw a flag on the play right there.
Banana sandwich. Tell Johnny.
Yo.
Tell the party don't need it. Like, what are we talking about right now? But are you serious, bro? Are you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich still to this day?
No, PB&J. PB&J is still one of the best go-tos. I mean, grilled cheese is it. Look, I'm not dogging it. I'm just saying PB&J.
So you really going with PB&J over a grilled cheese for a lunchtime sandwich?
Yep.
I'm so disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, look, basically, when it comes to grilled cheese and peanut butter and jelly always reminds me of this. All right. And now, this is the part where we talk about shoes, Jessica. So, we go through stuff that's in our collection, stuff that we added, stuff that we want. Since we're all sneakerheads, we give it its own segment. And just in case you missed it the first time, okay, you get the point now, right? We're sneakerheads, all that. So we do this thing called the Copper Drop. CB is gonna spotlight a shoe.
And so I actually, in the spirit of the holidays, spotlighting a pack instead of just one shoe. It's Christmas time, holidays, and so Nike is coming out with their Nordic Pack, which you have one of the Blazer highs, Air Max 90s, and then the Air Force One highs. And they're done up in Christmas colors. You got the red and green. You have some peppermint designs and things on there. So for me, I think if I was going to cop one of them, it would be the 90s, because for me, that's my favorite shoe out of the pack. But just for you guys in general, are you feeling these? Or are you not? Just from the pack itself.
I like the 90s for sure. I want to see the basketball side of the Christmas collections, but if I had to if I had to cop any of the three, it would definitely be the 90s first, then maybe the Blazer, and then the Forces last.
I'm like not a huge Air Force One high guy personally, but
Jessica, what you think?
Aesthetically, 90s is it. I'll probably go with the Forces second.
Yeah, I'm a stick with the 90s. I don't want to take this clearly off kilt, but clearly at this point, when we talk about a Christmas drop, everybody knows what we're looking for on the day before Christmas. So, but to stay in the set, yeah. Unless Roya says they're cute, then I don't want them at all.
That's gonna be a problem, because she's gonna say every shoe is cute.
Exactly.
All right.
Well,
All right. So who's up first this week for the soul?
Well, would we like Jessica to lead off, or would we like her to close the show?
Oh yeah, Jessica. So did you bring a pair of shoes? I asked you that first. Okay. You want to lead off, or you want to close out?
don't matter.
Well, okay.
I'll lead off.
You want to lead? Okay.
All right. So this is my favorite.
Hey.
Let's go.
Hey. Okay.
So yeah.
Nice. Okay. Jordan Moore. Okay. Jessica got some heat. I'll follow up. In the spirit of somebody we talked about earlier tonight. Russ, I got the Black History Month Russ's from I think last year that came out. And then the thing about these is the shoe tag is at the bottom, embedded in the shoe. Reminds me of the Dion. Yeah. Dion had his face at the bottom. So shout out to Russ, shout out to Jordan. All right, who's up?
I'll go ahead because I know CB gun. You know, he always takes us out.
Yeah, we know CB got.
Keep it in the family. You did. I want to say, if I'm correct, let me make sure my history is right. I remember I saw KD in it. I saw KG, my bad, KG in them, and I wanted them. And this was around the time where I felt like if anything, if you got branded by Jordan, it was definitely a thing. So.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Like the jump man, again, it was like that first shoe that I felt like I can get that wasn't a signature Jordan. That still was like a hard, like this was a hard ass shoe. I felt like both you could wear it off the court and wear it on the court, and you still got it in. So the jump man definitely was that shoe for me.
Bet. This is for you, Jessica.
Size am I? I don't know if I should answer that.
Because Pops has the connection at Jumpman.
You gonna buy me some shoes? Because I'll tell you if you're gonna buy me some.
Trying to gift her some shoes. Oh, okay, there you go.
Well then, I'm a 6.5.
6.5. And is that in ladies or is that in men?
Wow, really?
I don't know.
I'm a 6.5 in ladies.
Okay. There you go.
5.5 in boys.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. That's let me see. CB.
Ooh. All right. So last week, for people that checked in, I busted out those Air Max 1s that I got my brother as his wedding present. And I had mentioned that they were part of a 2-shoe release. And the other shoe, which is, so I got my brother a pair of Air Max 1 Londons, and they also released with a pair that were a nod to Amsterdam. And I actually like the Amsterdam ones a little bit more. They ended up being a little bit more expensive. One of the benefits of living with your brother when you wear the same shoe size and you're both sneakerheads is sometimes you will pool your funds together to snag a pair that you both want. So we had to complete the collection.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and these are the details on this are crazy. Like the leather of the shoes.
Jesus.
Yeah. Suede, different types of suede. This is like my favorite detail right here. Instead of a mini swoosh, these 3 X's, which are a nod to the city themselves. And then if you actually look at a map of Amsterdam, like they got like these rivers and stuff, or I guess that run through. And so this is a nod to that. But the colors on here are crazy. And this is it for me, one of my favorite shoes that Nike released all year. And so it was just dope that me and my brother were able to cop both of them because these are awesome.
Those are nice.
There you go. You're blessed, TV.
She said cute.
You're pretty.
Man.
All right. Pops came to play. Obviously.
Box looks familiar. Oh God.
CB, remember? I remember me and CB were at the Travis Scott show, and that was the first night I saw. We didn't know what they were. He had on the high tops, and then the girl rapped the whole song. He took the high tops off, gave those to her. He rapped like 3 songs barefoot, and then they brought him
Some lows.
At that point, we had stopped looking at the show. We were trying to zoom in on his feet. Like, what are those? Like, taking pictures with our cameras in the dark. It was a mess.
Yo, that's real though. Like I will never forget us both trying to zoom in with our phones as much as we could to try to figure out what he was wearing because we hadn't seen him on Instagram yet.
Right, exactly. And now I've actually seen them in person.
Are they as beautiful as we think they are?
Yeah, they are. All right, so real quick, we forgot to plug last week, but calling all our sneakerheads, working on a special project. Email econahir196@gmail.com if you want to get in. I think we got a couple of more slots left. We're looking for Nike or Jordan brand sneakers for this project. Hit up my pops in the email, and he'll give you all the details on what it is we're looking to accomplish. But yeah, again, so if you're just joining us at the very end of the show, we want to thank Miss Jessica Harris for joining us for our Black series and just shedding light on mental illness, bringing awareness to it. We appreciate you spending your time with us. At this point, an hour and 17 minutes on a Thursday night with us.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I had fun.
Yeah, good. Can you plug yourself one more time? Let where everybody can find you. Yeah.
Okay. My website is athetopwellness.com. You can handles are at the top wellness on Instagram and Facebook also.
Nice. And we are something else. You can find us as WERSUMTHINELSE. Google that. You'll find us on Google Play, iTunes, Facebook, all that good stuff. But we're trying to get everybody here on YouTube. So if you hear, I always hate when people say, click that like and hit that notification bell. Let us know that you're rocking with us. Let us know that you're rocking with us here on We Are Something Else. Let's go to the last bit of comments.
That's my mentor.
That's what.
Hey,
yo.
before we get out, hey yo, shout out to HBCUs, Prairie View A&M right here. Again, I think I'm about to start just highlighting the HBCUs because I've been to a couple of them, but need to throw them out there.
Okay.
Gotta represent.
Quick before we go, Spence Garcia predictions.
I mean, it's better for me personally if Spence does it because then I can still hope for Spence and Crawford.
I'll co-sign that just because I do want to see. I'd rather see that one. I'd rather see that fight next.
Yeah,
it should be a good fight though.
It's gonna happen. Spence, last time we seen him was in a horrific car accident. It's his comeback fight. It's been a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
What's the guy with the braids he fought last time that he could have lost to, but Sean Porter. But
right.
I think Garcia is nowhere near as good as Porter. I'm going with Spence.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of shape Spence is in. You know what I mean? Because like you said, last thing,
they always say that. So
right.
Prediction, Jessica, Earl Spence or Danny Garcia. Two boxers.
That. I don't know. Maybe Spence. We'll see.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. No, someone get this man.
Get him. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for joining us as We Are Something Else. We out.
Peace.
Thank you, Jessica.